Hello and welcome to First Reform Take, the official hater's guide to the Luka Doncic trade. My fellow YouTube people, it's been 24 hours, and this is the greatest 24 hours in non-Boston championship sports that I have ever experienced. As a career-long Luka Doncic hater and hater of the Dallas Mavericks, I have finally achieved everything I've wanted to ever see in sports. The complete failure of the Dallas Mavericks organization. Every piece of Luka slander ever said, validated. Folks, life is not good. Life is a bad thing, and to be human is to suffer. But occasionally in sports, good things happen for us who hate. And yesterday, was one of the great days. I could get into more, but I am going to actually cut myself off and allow Seth to say one word. Seth, how are you feeling on this momentous day?
Um, I'm way too brain poisoned by Luka slander Twitter/Reddit, which apparently so is the Dallas Mavericks GM, for trading Luka away to really have a rational take on any of this. We were originally discussing planning on doing an all deserved all-star snub team.
Which we are now two podcasts away from doing because
At
we will
least
talk about
because
the Kings
we will
later in
talk
the
about the
week.
Kings at some point. We may save that for like right before the All-Star game, even though the algorithm probably won't pick up on our on snub talk because we'll be 2 weeks behind at that point. But
It's
um
actually really funny to talk about the All-Star game snubs after the All-Star game, so I wouldn't hate doing that.
kind of funny but I had this idea of who didn't deserve to go. Even though people believe they did, certainly, and that certainly lean into our the haterade that we tend to drink on this podcast, this stream. I mean,
And it's
certainly the
funny because I really
yeah.
don't even consider myself much of a sports hater, but the one place I am, well, okay, there are more, but Luca has been number one.
Yeah.
And today we're gonna do the trial of this trade. I've got Stellan. Wait, that's not Stellan
Oh
Skarsgård.
God, no, come on, it's Jared Harris.
Yeah, I know it's Jared Harris. I'm on a max dose of Mucinex. Okay, I'm sick, by the way, doing this pod.
Switch to an upper. Yes, this is actually literally Waylon's flu game. He
This
is
is my
fucked
flu
up,
game.
but this is his finest
I
moment. He
had a whole
has
speech about how I can't skip work because it would cost me $200, but I decided not to do it in the opening. Although I'm
yeah.
doing it now. I'm gonna move us. I want to introduce kind of a conceptual bit so that we can get right into it because we are against the Zoom clock. I
Hmm.
have 13 topics that we can talk about regarding the Luka Doncic trade because there are a lot of facets to this. And I'm going to let you pick and you will guide the discussion. We'll go back and forth. But the 13 things that I think about this topics. Number one, he's fat. Number two, Trump tariffs. Three, Windy and Jaylen killed the Mavs. Four, Danny Ainge's role in it. Lol. Five, the failed Nike pitch. Six, the Luka Supermax discount. Seven, Kyrie and LeBron angles. Eight, an apology to Dame Lillard. Nine, laughing at Mavs fans. 10, Lakers somehow have returned. 11, Boomer Brainrot, which you did touch on a little. 12, my Chernobyl theory of ineptitude. And 13, is this trade any good for the league? Seth, where would you like us to begin?
I I do kind of actually just want to go in order, except I want to start with you pardoning Dame and issuing Dame an apology
All
because
right,
as I believe Dame is your second most hated player, and I'm very
not
curious
anymore.
to see what changed. What would you like to
Yeah,
say to Mr. Damian Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks, IST champion 2024?
yeah, this one's sincere. I was wrong. Okay, I've never been one not to walk back something if I'm wrong. And I didn't like the way Dame left Portland because I thought it was really I don't have a word for it that I want to use on here, but I didn't like it. But the way the Mavs have discarded of Luka, who does deserve it a little, but still, is so cold and so evil, and I honestly can't imagine being an NBA player. And I mean, even though they're paid an insane amount of money, like to do well at your job and then be discarded by some fucking moron who doesn't understand what you do. Yeah, players should have the right to leave. So I'm sorry, Dame. You're right. I was wrong. I'm good with it. I You're back in my good books. Sorry. That's it. That's
Okay.
all I got.
So let's move on to topic number one. He's fat. Does this have any, do you happen to have the clip of I think it's Scott Steiner saying that queued up by any chance?
No, I don't
Ah,
have that, but it's very funny that yes, we do have his 200. He is pushing 270 pounds.
well, I the only thing I want to chime in on is th this Harrison, who I had no idea who Dallas's GM was before yesterday. I mean, really this morning. And immediately it comes out that they leaked that everyone knew Luka's conditioning wasn't good, but they leaked that he was weighing in the 260s before training camp. Like that's actually like I always sort of thought the oh Luka's fat thing was just sort of a big piece of internet slander. If that's actually true, that is kind of fucked up. Like unless Luka is getting ready to enter his Zebo era, which I encourage basically every professional athlete to do, like that's bad. There's no getting around that. That is a conditioning problem. And if he was really blown up that badly, maybe they have a point that uh it's the cause of his current injuries. But the solution is not to trade him for Anthony Davis. The solution is, hey, moron, get in shape or we're not going to supermax you.
Yeah, I mean you have to supermax him anyway. But as someone who has gained 15 pounds off of seasonal depression, I will say the only time I'll ever say it, shield wall Luka Doncic. Um, he's it's very funny that he comes into the season out of shape, and it the thing is, this year he was always not going to come in shape because he had the NBA Finals run. And we talked about that in our preview. Like we knew that was going to happen.
Right.
Um, and I don't know, it's fun to like make fun of him for it, but I always thought that was more of a joke. Uh, like you said, and it doesn't affect him that much. And I'm kind of between whether or not I want him to stay like kind of fat and a good player or get in shape. I mean, ideally he's terrible and the Mavs are terrible, and everyone loses, but I don't know what I think funnier would be he just stays kind of out of shape and still puts up 32 a game in the playoffs. It's an insane thing to trade a player for, and it really does seem like that's the reason. Because I can't. I mean, we can get into the defensive stuff, but that seems like the only reason.
And the defensive stuff might be like tied to that somewhat. Um,
Yeah, it is, but not too much. I mean, yeah, there's some effort issues with him getting back, and we saw that in the finals. But he also conserves his energy pretty well.
and you might as
Um,
well. I mean, what do you think the Boston Celtics have been doing for like the past 2 months? I mean, they know if you are going to finish as a top three seed just on pure talent, you don't need to blow yourself out before the playoffs.
And the Mavs were like a top 10, maybe top five defense last year after the trade, like second half of the year. So they were a good defensive team, even with Luka getting hunted on defense. Obviously, it killed them in the finals, but my Celtics are good. So I don't know. I'm already leaning into another one of our categories by saying that. I don't have anything else to say about his weight other than I find it really funny That is basically
Why
all
they're
of why, like
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, if you were deep into Luka slander Twitter, like this is your Christmas, but it's I don't know, Christmas plus 4th of July. This is a party right now. Like this is
It's
just
been a great it's been a
like you said
great
at the
time.
outset, this is justifying everything you've ever slandered Luka about. Um okay, we'll move on to topic 2, Trump tariffs. What do you have to say about our beloved 47th president? How many damn
So
presidents have
this
we had?
ties well, we've had 45, but two of them twice. So
Yeah.
this ties into what you just said. It is I have gotten everything I wanted, and I kind of feel like a Republican voter right now
Oh yeah,
because
you talked about this
a
earlier.
little bit, yeah. It feels like you get everything you wanted, but you didn't actually think someone would take it seriously and do it. I was talking to my friend. I compared myself to his dad, who, voted for Trump, and it's like now we're gonna have tariffs and a trade war and everything. It's like, oh, I didn't think you were actually gonna do all that stupid shit. Like, and yeah, yeah, Mavs just did it. Mavs just took everything people like me said, and they acted on it and destroyed their entire fan base, which is, I mean, super cool for me, just like the tariffs are cool if you're wishing for America to sink into the ocean. Um, and I
Yeah,
do have
let's
kind of similar feelings sometimes.
Yeah, I think you made a direct comparison uh to the Mavericks for the country as a whole. Don't know how political we want to get on this stream. I also think to catch the YouTube algorithm, we need to be like Aiden Ross politically. So I think what do we want to say here? We think Doge is great? Question
I love
mark.
Doge. I
We love
love
Doge. We
crypto.
love Doge. Please give us 100,000 views,
I
YouTube
love
algorithm.
Beast,
We love
the Beast show.
except our Discord unironically loves the Mr. Beast
Yeah,
show,
I have
which is
that channel muted.
very, very confusing. But yeah, okay. Your Trump tariffs analogy makes sense in the sense of you as a big hater are actually getting what you want, and now you're sort of left with a now what? I think my response to that was, well, they could win the title with your main rival. Like Luka could win
Oh
a
yeah.
championship with LeBron.
I think
Um,
I think it's in play.
I
Not
and my
yet.
yeah, it's in yeah, no, they're still like I do have some thoughts on the trade, but I mostly just want to let you cook on this stream. So let's move on to Windy and Jaylen iced the Mavs.
That just comes down to how interesting. I mean, does anyone even remember the big Windhorst speech after Game 3?
I mean, I would say all of Windhorst's speech are big by default.
Well,
Okay,
okay,
no more
Shield
fat jokes
Wall
on this.
Windhorst.
No more fat jokes. We love Windy. I actually went to law
Well,
school with Windy's
actually,
wife. She was very nice.
we should say Windy and Luka, you gotta stick together. It's a tough world out here.
Windy's
But
a he seems like a very nice guy.
no,
And
but do
like
you remember his big speech after Game
I
3?
do not remember this. Please enlighten me.
He destroyed Luka Doncic after Game 3 on ESPN. It was kind of a big thing on ESPN. Windhorst Luka speech. Let me just pull up some quick. I don't know. Now he has all this stuff about what he said today, but yeah, he called him no effort. Basically a loser.
Jeez.
Um,
I
and
don't remember this.
Oh, it was pretty tough. And yeah, it seems like the Mavs brass actually took that to heart and
Yeah.
actually bought into all of that, which ties into everything else I've kind of said that they actually bought in to all of the hate.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna play the wind horse very quickly.
Meanwhile, Dallas, this has
Hold on, you can
made a
hear.
terrible play. I'm standing here in the Mavericks tunnel. Over there is the Celtics tunnel. That's where the winners are. If Luka's ever going to be a winner coming out of this tunnel here, he is going to have to use what's happened in this.
Yeah, the infamous "he is not a winner" wind horse thing.
Jeez.
Apparently they bought into that.
Yeah,
So
I have no memory of that. That is oof, that is spicy.
Yeah, you're not a
But I'm
true
not even
Luca
sure he's
hater.
wrong. I'm not even sure he's wrong. I mean,
He wasn't wrong. That's where I mean, Jaylen destroyed Luca in that series. Um, he locked him down, and then
mhm,
they hunted him on defensively so much that, yeah, it was a terrible series for Luca. But he was
mhm.
also, and that is where the conditioning thing comes. He was burnt out from the run.
Right. I mean, that's
Um,
certainly part. I mean, he carried them for a lot of it.
that's the
So,
thing. It's not really his fault there. Like he was putting up 35, I think, a game in that playoff run.
mhm.
Yeah, it was ludicrous numbers. So yeah, it's just very funny they took that to heart. Go out of order. I want to see us take one out of order here.
All right. Give me a second here. I would like to know. I'm going barely out of order here. The failed Nike pitch. I'm not sure I know what this is. You know this.
Ah, boy.
Wait, can I stop you for 1 second, Waylon?
Yes, but this is a good one. This is important.
There is no overlap, I think, between our audience and the audience of my previous podcast with Mike over the Power Walk into Jonestown, the conspiracy podcast, which I encourage anybody who does like sort of a rational take on conspiracies to check it out. Our premise was conspiracy thought podcast for people who have gotten it wet ever, as opposed to your typical conspiracy fan, which is mostly like a 4chan slash X loser type guy. But this feels right now like the episodes we did where we were going down the icebergs and getting into increasingly more abstruse, hard to understand theories. And we would just have to like Google the titles because they didn't tell us anything. And this is where we're at with the failed Nike pitch. So tell me, we're sort of like midway through the iceberg. Tell me what the failed Nike pitch is, because this
Yeah,
doesn't ring a
this
bell.
this has gained steam online the last 24 hours, and it's about the Dallas GM and just how bad he's been at pretty much every job he's done. And I guess he was a big player in Nike, right? And so is Palinka. They have a Kobe link there, which
Hmm.
this is very clearly an inside basketball trade.
Are you saying it was an
Um,
inside job? Is that the conspiracy we're going
Yes,
with here?
but let me get through this first because the failed
Okay.
Nike pitch is really funny if it's true. And it was reported by Sports Illustrated. Apparently, he, what's his name? Nico, who's the GM, whatever,
Nico Harrison.
Harrison. Uh, Harrison had this pitch to Steph Curry to stay with Nike, and he called him the wrong name. He might have called him Seth, or he might
Wow.
have called him Steven.
No,
I'm
nothing
not
wrong with
sure
calling him
which.
Seth.
Yeah, but he called him the wrong name and also did the pitch that was meant for Kevin Durant and
Wow.
had Kevin Durant's image on the PowerPoint.
That
Um, and
is
then Curry went to Under Armour instead of Nike. And then
that
Curry
is
later, this was 2013, so this is before he blew up.
that is wild, because like most of what I've read about the trade is sort of insisting that this is really sort of a Palinka Adelson's thing, and Harrison's just trying to put a good face on it. And they gave him a lot of credit for the PJ Washington trade and the Daniel Gafford trade. And I think he's gotten the credit for the tank in the Wemby draft that got them lively. Um, but yeah, hearing this is like it's interesting. I sort of feel like the media story, and he himself has come out and said, I was the one who went to, you're the Game of Thrones guy. Who's the old lady who's like, I want Cersei to know it's me.
Elena Tyrell.
Thank you. He's been doing that kind of move. Like, I want Luka to know it was me who said he was a big fat fuck and needed to go to the Lakers. Like, I don't know if this Nike pitch story is true, because I have never heard this, and it is very, very delightful. If that's true, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Um, yeah, there's got to be more to this than just they got sick of Luka's lack of conditioning. I mean, they couldn't get any other. I mean, even if we presume Harrison is kind of a chucklehead, like he's not. He knows what Luka's worth is, so that's
Apparently
interesting.
not.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Okay.
He went to Army too to
Hmm.
start. I don't know. I
Uh,
I could see him having like this Army guy
so
conditioning
saying
obsession.
is the troops could not put together a front office and run an NBA team better than anybody.
Well, you're the one who told me to shut up and dribble and stick to sports for the algorithm, so I'm not saying that. I respect our
I
troops.
do respect our.
I
Does YouTube
do. I'm
respect the
doing
troops? I don't even
Valentine for
know.
veterans or whatever.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't know. It's like
And we
a
don't need to get into
nice
it. All right,
activity.
moving on. All right, we'll skip around a bit. Boomer Brainrot trade theory.
Oh, good. Yeah. We went into this. It's basically that Nico just bought into all the memes and went
Oh
insane
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because, and I think the thing is, if one person is making the decision, like I've been dealing with a lot of high stress situations.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like he could just be having a complete breakdown and
Yeah,
have made this trade.
yeah,
That's one of my theories is he just really got sick of Luka and has like everyone's going insane anyway.
yeah.
Nothing good is happening.
It's a good. This has never been a better time to just be completely insane, I would say. Um, but yeah, yeah, okay. We did touch on this. I mean, I myself said at the top of the hour that I like can't rationally process the trade because I've just heard so much slander about Luka over the years. It's like, oh yeah, I guess rational people in the industry still view him as, good and not just good, but like a top five player. So yeah, it, I don't know. I'm just looking at Jared Harris's chart here, and you've got, oh yeah, he's 26 years old. He's like the third highest scorer in league
Yeah,
history,
Wilt and MJ.
and then on the left, 270 pounds. So
He's fat.
he's bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I think you may be right. I mean, Harrison may just be cracking up and just, I think he just got, there are bad vibes players and everybody has different reactions to them. This may just be the other side of the coin of the Jimmy Butler trade situation where now Pat Riley is digging his heels in instead of and suspending his player probably in contravention of union rules over
Yeah,
and
probably.
over. Um it's he's also, Pat Riley's also like what 80 years old or something. He's been in the game too long. His brain is fried. And Jimmy Butler, who's an inherently annoying human being, is is putting him on tilt. So I mean, maybe
Yeah,
Luka showing up with a little paunchy at practice after like a genuinely heroic up until the finals playoff run, like you said, maybe just set off this army grad who's like a conditioning freak. So I don't
yeah, and
know.
he
It's weird.
just lost it
Yeah.
and bought into all of this stuff. And I mean, when you hear things, they're echo chambers, and you hear it every day. Eventually, you might just believe it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So you mean like every single person currently occupying a position of power in the United States at present?
That's right.
Anyway, okay, moving on to you want let's do nine. How about you take your swipe at the Mavs fans and let's move on.
Oh, well, there are so many. I mean, I watched like 10 minutes of Locked On Mavs, and I think I posted the guy who was like, I believe in Jesus and I'm going to heaven, but this
What?
is what hell feels like. Oh, yeah,
What?
you go watch it. I
What is
posted the link of
this?
that. It's just a Mavs podcast, and the guy is talking. I'm sure
Is
they're
is,
good guys.
is the
Uh,
guy like is he like very religious and there's
he did
normal
mention like
circumstances?
he was like, this is hell. Now I believe in the Lord and Savior and that I'm going to heaven, but and it was very funny.
A little
Um,
extreme, I think.
a little extreme. Although I guess say like how extreme is it? The Mavs fans, yeah.
I mean, that's
So
probably
this
a
is
typical, Mavs fan perspective, but
but the part that's not typical and why this is so stupid, one of the many reasons is how much this is an international market and how deadly this is going to be for Mavericks basketball. Mavs are in Texas, right? And Texas
Hmm.
is a great market, but right now we have two Texas teams who are objectively way more fun and cool. The Spurs,
Hmm.
who will take over, and the
Yeah.
Rockets, who will take over Texas. The Mavs feel old and just not a fun team to root for compared to those two. But you would say, well, the Mavs are going to do fine. They have an international audience. Well, they just totally got rid of that international link.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's inexplicable for AD, who will never be your guy, for Kyrie, who, one will never be your guy, two, we'll see with Kyrie. And I don't know, they have some good players to build around, but the NBA, not unlike the NFL, is kind of in this I don't know, what was it called when they were dividing up territories, fucking Spain and Portugal. Uh Not
Oh,
colonialism,
we're
but
getting back to your other favorite show, Shogun.
well, I have Yabu in
I don't
this.
remember what the
There is
Spanish
a
Portugal
specific
shit.
term I'm looking for that I don't have. But yeah,
I know what you're
we're
talking
they're
about.
trying to divide up the NFL right now. Like the Patriots have the rights to
That
Germany.
yeah. That
It's really weird. The NBA loosely is doing this too, where they're trying to establish footprints in the market. It's super important with LeBron's weird league that isn't going to probably go anywhere.
no, no.
But
And then Adam Silver's pipe dream about this European league.
yeah,
I don't think that's going to go anywhere, but I guess I understand I see the vision. I just don't agree with it. Um, but yeah. Anyway, Mavs fans, BTFO, as you've
yeah, they've
established.
basically the Mavs have surrendered not just
Yeah.
their fan base abroad and outside of local fan base, which is important to your team's lifeblood, is being able to bring those people in
Oh,
outside of market. But within
here's
the market, they're gonna turn on them.
here's the most vicious thing I can say about the Mavs right now. The Mavs are now the Cowboys.
I was gonna bring up the Cowboys thing. I mean, yeah, they are sad and old and bad vibe to be a fan, but
Hmm.
worse, but way
Hmm.
worse than the Cowboys. Cowboys at least still have that international factor. Mavs, forget it. I don't see why a random kids in Dallas won't be Mavs fans after this. Never mind elsewhere. So congrats to the Adelsteins on
Adelsons.
Adelsens. I don't know who they are.
Well, I have a bit to
Um
do about them, but we'll get to that.
yeah, I know they're like Vegas casino conservatives. That's the thing I
Yes.
know.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. Anyway, well, let's circle back and get the first quadrant done here. Danny Ainge lol is LOL is the exact title you have on this. I think we both agreed earlier that the bit we are gonna do is that the Utah Jazz won this trade.
Absolutely. It's so cool.
What
It's so
the,
cool.
I don't even think it's a total bit. I mean, how
They
did
got
Danny
Hood
Ainge even?
Shafino.
I never liked Hood Schifino, but I mean, they at least got like a living, breathing player and two. I mean, picks are currency. Second round picks, I mean, unless you end up with a Jokic, are generally not particularly valuable. But I have this like vague fantasy that somehow one of those second rounders turns into a Jokic pick, and they just find some like 6'11", like three, like
Mormon
100.
BYU player.
Yeah, or like a BYU player, just like random guy, and just like turn him into an MVP candidate, and then the joke of the Jazz won the trade becomes an actual thing because in this scenario, neither the Lakers nor the Mavericks win a title from this move.
I've just been laughing so much about Danny Ainge on this call,
I know
finding
it's
out
like
about the trade, and like he didn't leak it, which would have been really funny to do too.
I just don't even see how I know the Lakers needed to move Hood Schifino, um, for salary cap relief. But how did Danny Ainge even get involved? Was he just like having lunch with Rob Pelinka when this call came in from the Mavs? And Ainge was like, hey, Rob, come on.
The idea of him as the trustworthy leak-proof guy is really maybe he is. I mean, I can't imagine him as
He's
that, but
he's been in the league long enough. I think that if you specifically tell him don't let this leak,
yeah,
he'll do it. Because I mean
yeah,
he's the
he's done it before.
yeah, and he trades so often that I think I mean you're talking about a club of 30 guys basically. So you all know each other. You all have to have some baseline level of trust. Otherwise, you can't get the deal done when you want it to get done. So I'm not surprised that Ainge was able to keep his mouth shut. It's really funny that they were even involved at all.
It's so funny, and I'm becoming a sneaky Jazz rebuild fan. Just this idea of them constantly being like the greaser, the person who helps all the deals
And
happen.
the other thing is, if you help the Lakers get a player they want, the general consensus is that you will be shined upon favorably in the draft. And this is a good year for
Yeah, probably.
if you're someone sitting in the eighth or ninth spot to jump up in the top four and get a legitimately. I mean, look, I've been saying all year that I think they're going to gift the Jazz Cooper Flag. That Adam Silver likes seeing the moves Ryan Smith's been making with the Utah Hockey Club and trying to turn the Jazz or like
Yeah,
the Mormon brand into a I don't know, it's almost like the PIF fund but for Mormonism. Um
we'll
and
definitely do a draft power rankings of who they should fix it for at some point.
well I mean that's not going to be till June at least. But
Yeah, it's
anyway,
around the corner.
Danny Ainge, we salute you for hopping in on this, and I sincerely hope you end up with like some 7'1" Serb guy in the second round who ends up becoming an all NBA player. Um,
I've been deranged talking. What of the last ones do you want to talk about since we have 7:30?
we have only 7 minutes left.
Yeah, we've been
Okay,
going.
my only real opinion of this trade is that the Adelsons buying the team and then trading away Luka after getting Kyrie to sign the Supermax is not going to make Kyrie any less anti-Semitic.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I
I
don't
think
really
Kyrie's
care.
happy with it though, is the funny part.
Yeah, who even knows? Um, I don't even care about the Lakers being back. I don't think they're back. I genuinely think this is a weird trade for both teams from a personnel standpoint. I want to hear your Chernobyl theory of ineptitude, and then we'll conclude with saying, is this good for the league?
Oh, the Chernobyl theory is pretty easy. There's a lot of stuff going around about like this is fixed for the Lakers. This kind of converges with somehow the Lakers have returned. That there's going to be a lot of stuff. This is fixed for the Lakers. They landed another star. The league should have stepped in. Um, can definitely talk about the inside baseball aspect of those two GMs not shopping around, which is insane. But
Yeah,
I think
that's
I
the
mean, it's
eyebrow
it's
raising part.
malpractice, but I really do think sometimes all this stuff just comes down to people are not that smart. People get hired who don't have the tools for their job. They are hired by middling owners. Um, they are not effective and they just fuck up. And I really think that's all this trade is at the end of the day is just a fuck up by a guy who didn't think too deep about it and just said, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of sick of Luka. I want to have a more defensive team." Had no one there to tell him no. There was Harold Blob, whatever that guy is, was talking about some smart guy leaving. Harold Blob used to be, and that's not his name, but I don't know what it is.
What, yeah.
The gambling psycho
I know
guy.
who you're talking about. I don't know what his name is either.
Um, he used to be on the Mavs, and he said there was a little bit of a brain drain on the Mavs. He's a weird guy and an idiot, but he kind of was cooking on what he was talking about with the Mavs. Uh, I think there was probably a brain drain in terms of people working for that team after Cuban left, and there was just no one to step in and say, "Hey, this is the steps you have to take." To get maximum value, and they just bought into this defense wins championships thing, which isn't true. It's balance, and defense affects offense, offense affects defense, blah, blah, blah. Basketball theory. But yeah, just idiots in charge, and it's that simple.
Yeah. That's actually the one angle on here that I don't think you've covered, and I do want to bring up. Has anybody gotten Mark Cuban's opinion on this? Like
Not
that guy
yet. I
never
don't think he's checked in yet.
How can
I've
that
been
be? He
looking.
never shuts the fuck up about anything. You'd think
I
this would be
know.
the kind of thing he would love to pontificate about because he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And he, I have a lengthy diatribe about Mark Cuban that I'm not going to repeat here, but I personally thought he was completely mid as an owner and really had Luka fall into his lap. I mean, don't forget the the Hawks traded Luka to them to get Trey and the extra pick, which did not work out for them at all. Um, yeah, I but
Mark
but I
Cuban.
want to hear what he has to say about this because this
I
is
asked Mark Cuban for his reaction on the trade of Doncic, blah, blah, blah. Cuban responded with four letters, MFFL, which is a dumb hashtag they have, meaning Mavs fan for life.
that means
Well, I
nothing.
cannot continue my sentence. But yep, Mavs fan for life indeed. Uh,
Okay. All right, so let's conclude. Is this good for the league?
yeah, it's fun. I'm having a great
Yes.
time.
No, my literal first thought in the morning was because I thought we were going to get the De'Aaron Fox news overnight last night
This is so much better
was
than the Super Bowl, by the way.
this was Adam Silver calling in and saying, "You guys got to do something because the Jimmy Butler shit's not going anywhere. Bradley Beal's not going anywhere. The trade deadline's dead. Shake things up." And he got
Yeah,
his
weren't
wish.
you saying it was washed? And I mean, you were right
Yeah, I know.
at the
I
time.
wait. Did my cooler powers activate and say the trade deadline was in the?
I
Yeah, I
think
think I
they
said the trade
did.
deadline's in the dirt, and then 24 hours later we get Luka for AD, and then I know we're not going to talk about the Kings trade, but the Bulls got fucking
Well, I
fired.
want to talk about later this week. I want to
Fair,
bring
fair.
on what's his name?
Jack, our friend Jack, who's a big
Jack.
Kings
Sorry, Jack.
fan and will not bring up going to the kingdom of heaven, but he will probably say he's currently in hell over probably the most recognizable Kings player in decades getting swapped out for like Zach LaVine and three picks. Not the not the juice you want, is what I would say.
No,
But yeah, Luka Doncic, he is a Los Angeles Laker.
we have time for the last part, which is the Supermax piece. Luca
Oh yeah,
lost a
I
lot of
like a lot of
money,
stuff. Oh yeah,
which
so
is
what happens
funny.
to him now? I mean, what's the biggest
He
contract
takes
he's
a shorter
signed?
deal, and it won't cost him that much because if the cap keeps going up,
Which it
the
should.
shorter deals, he'll live. But it's a huge advantage competitively for the Lakers building going forward, I
Yeah.
think,
And
because you don't
they
have
and
to
they
pay him the
need now all of
supermax,
a
and
sudden
he's a
they need
supermax
another
player.
defensive center. They need to get like Nick Claxton or something, and they probably need another. They need a Clay
Christ,
Thompson. They need
maybe
another
it's
3-and-D
Porzingis
guy.
over the summer. Like, and that would be really
Porzingis really
funny because
guard?
I
But
think
is he
no,
really a good rim protector?
no, but I don't respect the Lakers, and
Well, no, that's fair. They
I
might do
think they
something
might
stupid
do a
too.
bad trade.
We also do not respect Rob Pelinka or Jeannie Buss on this show.
No,
There
only
we actually got. I hope we have enough time to talk about this.
less than a minute.
We got a preview of this show being written by Mindy Kaling that's coming out in like 3 weeks.
What?
That it's literally just a Netflix show that Jeannie Buss is executive producer on, and it's literally just
Really?
Jeannie Buss fluffs her reputation as owner of the Lakers. My wife liked it. I thought it was
Oh
stupid
no.
because I know how the sausage is made, and I know Jeannie Buss sucks and Rob Pelinka suck.
Yeah,
And
Mindy Kaling's not top tier either right now.
I like Eric Barinholtz though. He wrote it too.
Ike Barinholtz is
But
okay.
but this show dropping now when the Lakers have gutted their one good defensive player